today we are with Mr. André Leu from Regeneration International. So it's a pleasure for me to have you on this platform. Thank you very much for creating time for us. So there's maybe a lot of group of people who haven't come across you, so you can sort of give them an overview of what you do exactly.
Okay, thanks. And once again, it's just such a pleasure for me to be back in Kenya. I really like the country, so
thank you.
And today we're having such a beautiful afternoon and been having such a great conference. So
yeah,
it's everything is great. So you want to know about me? I'm an organic farmer. I've been an organic farmer for most of my life, and in fact been farming for around 48 years.
Wow.
But in that time, I'm someone who always has more than one job or career. I've also worked as a professional musician and worked in media, and also my other one is education. But in terms of my recent professional life, up to a few years ago, I was the president of IFOAM Organics International. That's the umbrella body for the whole organic sector for the world.
Yeah.
And I was actually the longest serving president, and we worked with around 850 member organisations in around over 120 countries to basically grow organic agriculture.
Yeah.
Now I'm the international director of an organisation called Regeneration International, and in fact I'm one of the founders with Dr. Van Darnish, Ronnie Cummings, Hans Heron, who is one of the organisers here, Dr. Hans Heron, and there's also Precious Theory, who's from the Save Institute in Zimbabwe. And we formed the organisation as a network, an umbrella, to bring in all the various agroecological systems, such as organic agriculture, permaculture, evergreen agriculture. There are so many of them. And for us, one of the key defining areas is improving soil health and soil organic matter. And there's a whole range of reasons for doing that. I talked about some in terms of how it fixes up pests and diseases in plants. But it actually goes back to really the founding days of the organic industry, where he said healthy soil makes healthy people, or healthy plants. I should start again. Healthy soil makes healthy plants that makes healthy people. And we had a really good presentation on it about nutrition here in Kenya because of plants that are deficient in nutrients, the micronutrients. Those plants are unhealthy, and people who eat them are unhealthy. So soil health is really important. And a key part of that is soil organic matter. And one of the things I talked about is how by increasing soil organic matter you can actually capture more rainfall and you can drought-proof your property. So what we're seeing everywhere around the world is the same here in Kenya due to climate change. Our rainfalls are more irregular. And when they do come, they tend to be heavy and destructive. If you build up soil organic matter, you can actually capture most of that instead of it being destructive, and then store it for the drought and the dry season and grow crops.
So basically in the soil, no need to build
dams or rivers or canals, because you can actually store everything you need at the best place, which is at the root zone. It doesn't get more efficient than that. And it is very doable. We have very good peer-reviewed science and evidence on the benefits of doing it, and we know how to do it. But the other issue, when we talk about building soil organic matter, that's carbon. And what we're using is photosynthesis to take carbon dioxide out of the air and put it into the soil as soil organic matter. So we're not only building healthy soils, we're not only drought-proofing, but we're starting to reverse climate change because we take it out of the atmosphere. Because we've got too much there. Put it into the soil, and the soil is the biggest repository for carbon. There's more than twice the amount of carbon in the soil than in the atmosphere or in plants. And so this is why with Regeneration International we want to talk so much about soils and bringing carbon out of the atmosphere. Multiple benefits. So that's a really important part of what we do.
Regeneration International. So basically, take us back to your time during the IFOAM, you being the president of the IFOAM. So what are some of the milestones that you will say that you met during the IFOAM?
All right. What I'd actually like to say is that the thing about IFOAM is that it's been a leader in the organic sector since it started in 1972, and there's been a lot of people who worked in IFOAM to bring all these changes about. So, what's come from IFOAM, for instance, is nearly all the world's organic standards and certification systems have come from material that IFOAM has built. And what we've done with IFOAM is this process of what I call continuous improvement of organic. In my time, for instance, one of the things that we wanted to concentrate on is smallholder farmers. Because the fact is, 85% of the world's farmers are smallholders. And they are some of the most food insecure people. And so we felt it was very important that this is where our priorities are. We have limited money. Let's use that on the poorest farmers to help. And so there's a range of things we did in terms of putting what we call participatory guarantee systems. Now this is something that IFOAM really got together and worked with other groups and actually put this idea together. That was before my time as president. But when I was president, with the world boards, I'd have 3 world boards, and along with the staff, the executive directors, it's teamwork. We did a lot of work to promote participatory guarantee systems, and now we're seeing them mainstream.
Coming up, especially in Africa. So most farmers are coming together actually using the system.
Exactly. And Africa is one of the places where we work. Another one, and can I say it started before my time as president. Presidents before me, like Gunnar Lungu, started the IPOPA, the East Africa program that we heard about, which, from my point of view, has been one of the most successful programs to take farmers out of poverty and dramatically improve their standards of living. It's a model. Even now, when I go around the world and speak, and people want examples of a really good program, I use this. Then you heard today, Barbara Zilli talked about the food security system, that project that IFOAM's running in many countries and mountain areas. That happened under my term as president. But what I do want to say is this is that as president, I'm just one person in a team, and in many ways you could say a team of equals. I'm democratically elected. I'm only there because my peers gave me the honour of doing it. But without all the other people, like the executive director and the managers and the staff and other board members, these things couldn't have happened. But for me, I'm really proud of that. The other one, which I think is really important, that has happened, is the issue of scaling up agroecology. A lot of people don't know, but the first agroecology conference that the United Nations FAO did, we did that. We were the ones who actually proposed it initially, and was initially part of getting it up. But so we initiated agroecology within the UN, and that's something that I'm really proud of.
Very proud of that.
In my term, and people still don't realise it, because we don't really boast about things. What we want to do is get things done and get information out. And I think the other thing for me that's very interesting in my term is the way that governments changed their opinion on organic agriculture and agroecology.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my term, I never had to ask a minister for a meeting. Ministers would ask me to meet with them.
Wow.
That's the difference. And I would go to meetings because the minister wanted to talk with me, and I suppose what is really interesting is IFOAM then is being seen as the organisation with the expertise to help countries with developing their organic regulations and standards, and we would help. But we would help at every level, from helping governments through to small groups of farmers. No one is too small, no one is too big.
Yeah, interesting, fantastic. So when we look organic now from an African perspective, because that's where we are, so there hasn't been great growth, we can say. There has been some growth, but it's been sort of, what are some of the things from your perspective do you see has been leading this slow growth of organic sector?
It's never one thing. There's a range of issues.
Yeah.
Look, one of them, of course, the governments here basically they have been persuaded by the industrial agriculture sector,
Yes.
and that's the way to go. So most of the resources in agriculture, like we heard, 95%.
Kenya being one of them.
Yeah, well, pretty well every African country, it goes into industrial agriculture because they see that as the future. What we hear is that we need to modernise African agriculture. We need to bring in the new technologies. These are the mantras. But I suppose what I wanted to point out here is that this has been a total waste of money. That they've been talking about this since the 1960s, and there's actually 10% less food per person in Africa now than there was when they started this. This system has failed in Africa, the industrial system, consistently, and they're still trying to bring it back to life, but they're flogging a dead horse. On the other hand, we have really good data showing when we work with traditional African farmers and take them from, the word is organic by neglect. It's not quite right, but for some of them aren't even organic. They say bits of chemicals. What we're taking to is organic by design. We can get 100% more than 100% increases in yields. So what is missing is that we need to get resources to African organisations to get training. All we need for organic agriculture is training, it's knowledge base. And if we could just, out of that 95%, basically get another 5% of that budget and use that for training, it would be a revolution. We would see such a quick adoption of organic and agroecological systems.
So moving that now, we move now to Regeneration International. What is the major difference you see between organic to Regeneration International?
Okay. All right. What we're trying to do with Regeneration International is be a big umbrella for lots of like-minded organisations. So there's permaculture, evergreen, agroforestry, agroecology. There are so many farmers groups out there, and they like to see themselves as separate, but we're really part of the same paradigm. And what we want to do is have an umbrella and bring us under it, because we shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves as to who is better. We should be working together, networking, sharing knowledge, helping each other, and scaling up our types of agriculture. So we're really a network. For instance, really importantly for us is things like holistically managed grazing. 70% of the world's agricultural lands are actually grazing lands. Here in Kenya, the bulk of land is actually pasture. It's been that way for thousands of years. And so if we can work with systems where we can, improve pastures, improve the biodiversity, the stocking rates, and the stocking rates. We can make a huge difference. And we also know that with correct pasture management, we can, the same thing again, we can actually sequester so much carbon, put it into the soil, and actually reverse climate change. Plus, drought produce more feed, which is more stock for the traditional grazers. And so for us, these sorts of systems are really important because around the world, grazing it supports a lot of people, and many of these areas that are used for grazing, isolated, they really aren't suitable for cropping. We shouldn't be using it. And by making them more productive, we can actually produce a lot of food from these areas. So that's one area, for instance. So we've got very strong links with regenerative grazing, but also, perennial systems. And we heard Dr. Dennis Garrity talking about it. These, so silviculture or agroforestry, or silver pasture, where we've got trees and pasture. All these sorts of systems that we can do now. I think what's really exciting now is this mix of endless possibilities that we can do to build robust, highly productive systems that, if we do it properly, we don't have to spend on toxic inputs. So it's cheaper for farmers. We actually can produce more, increase production. We can restore biodiversity. We can restore our water tables. We can reverse climate change. And the other one, we get back to, which I thought was a really important presentation, is by building healthy soils, we build healthy plants, which is healthy animals and people. And we build, for us, healthy communities. Because at the end of the day, you know what this is all about? People and communities.
So basically what we've seen, Regeneration International can be a really good solution, especially to African farmers who don't have the resources to use inputs to their agricultural production. That's basically what Regeneration International is offering to them.
Yes.
So all those principles put together, and then now Regeneration International coming together to put those organizations into real solutions, especially to this particular one.
Look, you're right, and we're actually a very new organisation. First came together in 2014. That was the first concept. We formed in 2015 officially as an organisation. So we're just 4 years old, but we've grown. We've grown a lot. We've got, what we do is we're a network, so we have a lot of partnership organisations, and I think we have over 120 partnership organisations in something like more than 30 countries now, and that's grown. Part of what we've been doing here at this conference is starting that network with Africa. We started it last year in South Africa, and so we're very interested in working with people like Zachary and another one is with William with AFSA, and just seeing how we can network and work. We're not here to replace we want to work out how we can network and we can work together, because we're all on the same page, we're part of the same team, and just look at
how we can leverage each other's strengths.
Exactly. What we want to do, I suppose the best way to do is see how we can actually support what IFOAM is doing, or what AFSA is doing. We're not here to tell them what to do. What we want to do is we want to see what they're doing scaled up, because we can see it's so good. They're great organisations. Just need more resources.
So from that perspective, it's interesting to say that, because also when we look at, especially the US, the organic regenerative practice, the rights. What's your view on that?
Yeah, what's happening in the US, we actually formed in the US. It's actually in the climate change meeting in New York where we came up with the initial idea, those of us that were first there, and then from there had our first meeting in Costa Rica. So we've had largely a North American or an American focus, and it's really resonated in the US as a result, and it's just taken off this word regeneration. And so we're seeing, for example, like regenerative organic standard, we're seeing all these regenerative groups, regenerative farmers. We've been actively involved in forming regeneration networks in the US, such as Regeneration Vermont or Regeneration Canada as a national one, or Regeneration Midwest. And we're seeing lots of farmers looking at doing regenerative agriculture. There's farmers like Gabe Brown who've started to publish books on it now. There's going to be more books coming out. So North America is starting to become like a major centre for regenerative agriculture. My own country, Australia, is starting to happen. It's really resonating. I've done a lot of talks. We've got interest in the Pacific, in Asia now. We actually have projects in Latin America. We're getting a lot of interest in Latin America, in Central America. This year we're going to do our first major meeting in Latin America, in Chile, with the climate change. But last year we actually did our first regeneration meeting with NEPAD and the Fort 1000 in Johannesburg. So we actually started that. Peter came to Johannesburg and others for that. So we actually started the beginning of Regeneration Africa. Actually started that process last year. So now we're in the process of starting to scale it up and grow it. And so by the end of this year, we will actually have the basis of regeneration groups on every arable continent on the planet.
Great. So it's basically a matter of time. You are, of course, doing great work scaling the regenerative.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for having us. You want to do a performance for us?
I didn't bring my guitar. I should.
You normally do freestyle?
Yeah, you never know. Well, if they've got, we'll see what happens tonight. And maybe if they've got a guitar and they're happy for me to get up on stage, I'm not frightened about making a fool of myself. Having some fun.
Nice. So I'll definitely be happy to see you.
Yeah, well, one thing I love about Africa.
Music.
This is to me the continent of music, and I just, I look forward to it.
Performances.
My fondest memories of Kenya, going to villages and people coming out and singing and dancing to greet me. And I think this is the Africa I love. It's to me, so special. The music here, best in the world.
Welcome. This is feel home every single time you want to survive. You always be here to welcome you, bring you to your home.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much for making time for us.